Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. So we're here at the Eco Institute in Berlin. So 2 weeks ago, I participated at the webinar at the ACA in Brussels, and now we stay here in Berlin and have a different topic. Now it's sustainable mobility, how green is car sharing. And I just want to start with my presentation, followed by the presentation of Peter afterwards. So again, to my person, I'm a corporate communications manager of Car2Go, and I want to give you a short introduction into the mobility concept Car2Go, which was developed by Daimler. But first, let me say some words about why we developed Car2Go. Of course, there are some political trends. We have the mega trend of urbanization, more and more cities worldwide, more and more people are living in cities, in large cities, more and more traffic, and of course more and more problems with the traffic. Cities reacting by restricting inner city driving and parking. You find the congestion fee in London, you have electronic road pricing and so on. Other schemes are available globally. And you have changing customer expectations. One of them is use instead of own. This means that more and more customers, more and more inhabitants of larger cities don't want to own their car, but still they want to share it sometimes. And so car sharing schemes and other sharing schemes are growing worldwide. And this is one of the reasons Daimler invented Car2Go. Again, you have some economical trends as well. So of course, using a car in many cases is cheaper than owning. This leads to the development that more and more households in great cities and great areas are not owning a car anymore. You have about 40 up to 50% of households in large urban areas not owning a car by now. And you have changing the usage of the car, so other things become more and more important, especially for young customers. Owning a smartphone or being online all the time is still more interesting than owning a car. And of course you have fuel saving or cost efficiency, things that becomes more and more important. And Car2Go, as a car sharing scheme, using the Smart 4.2 MHD or the electric drive, has the most fuel efficient cars on the road today. And last but not least, there are some ecological trends as well. So it's a global topic to reduce the carbon footprint and to have less traffic in large urban areas, to the final target that cities become more livable. So Car2Go is a personal public mobility scheme filling the gaps between classical car sharing, like you find throughout the world, and the private car. Car2Go is the first fully automatic one-way open-end car rental system for urban mobility for large urban areas, which is available on a 24/7 base. That means the cars come without fixed rental stations. You will find the cars throughout the city area. You can rent the cars at the spur of the moment. You must not book in advance. And you can use the cars as long as you want. And after the usage, you can leave the cars in any public parking space throughout the business area. So it works very easy and convenient. You just locate the car by using our internet page, car2go.com, or you can use some of several smartphone applications to locate a car in every city. You will find Car2Go. You use your membership card, which you get during your one-time registration process. When you enter the car, you enter the PIN in our built-in telematic device, and then you can drive off using the built-in navigation system, and after finishing your rental you can use every public parking space in the city area. So we have a transparent pricing scheme with Car2Go. We have an all-inclusive price, so that means insurance, maintenance, fuel and parking are included. The price is based on use time, that means you pay by the minute of your rental, with especially hourly and daily rates. There is no monthly fee, so there are no minimum turnovers, so you have really the price of your usage. And for many cases it's cheaper than owning a car. So we started Car2Go 2008 with our first pilot city, the city of Ulm, in the southern part of Germany. Then we expand to a second pilot city, which is Austin, the capital of Texas in the US. And in April last year we started our first market entrance in the city of Hamburg, followed by Vancouver in Canada, followed by Amsterdam in the Netherlands, by San Diego in California, by Vienna in Austria, and in February we started our service in Lyon in France and in Düsseldorf in Germany. So there are many cities more to come. We put different amounts of cars in the city, around about 300 cars in every city, and we have lots of customers so far. In total, Car2Go is operating in 9 cities worldwide with more than 2,700 Smart for 2 vehicles. We have wide more than 60,000 customers, which make more than 1 million rentals and drive more than 10 million kilometers with the Smart for 2 vehicles. We have fully electric fleets in Amsterdam and San Diego, and this is new that we use full 100% electric driven fleets as well. And we have still announced more cities to come. We will start our service in Stuttgart in Germany and in Washington DC. So what makes Car2Go sustainable and what makes Car2Go green? So at first, car sharing in general reduces the number of cars in the city because the cars there's some problems here. So because the cars are rented often, the car is rented an average of 4 up to 5 or up to 10 times a day. The compact Smart for 2 car is a perfect car for dense urban areas because it's compact, it reduces parking pressure, and a car sharing barometer from the Automotive Institute of Management of the European Business School named the Smart brand as the best brand for car sharing. So it's perfect for urban mobility and short distance traveling. So you still need no larger car for most of your inner city mobility demands. When you are in the streets, you can count and you will find maybe 2 or maximum of 3 out of 100 cars where you find more than 2 persons sitting in. And of course the Smart for 2 is very clean, efficient and environmental friendly because of its very low CO2 emissions, even in its MHD full thing. So with Car2Go you have better occupancy rates compared to private transportation. You have a very high energy efficiency and of course you have the CO2 avoidance. As I told before, we operate Car2Go in 2 cities with 100% electric drive fleet, which is good for the city and very fun to drive. We started our service in November in Amsterdam and San Diego with a total of 600 Smart for 2 electric-wise vehicles. The cars are equipped with a lithium-ion traction battery with about 135 kilometer driving range, which means with an average range of 5 up to 15 kilometers for every Car2Go rental, that charging after each rental is not required. Most customers can left the car in a normal parking spot, and only every 10th or 12th customer has to return to a recharging station, which you find a lot of in Amsterdam and San Diego. What's very important for us at Car2Go is no competition but a complement of public transport. You see here in the graphic in the upper, in the downstairs area, a survey study how often Car2Go drivers are using public transport in the city of Ulm. And you see here that most of the Car2Go drivers in the blue column are using public transport daily. So So this means Car2Go is a good complement of public transport. You can use Car2Go to go for the last mile, or to go instead of public transport when you have to transport smaller things, or if you can quicker from point A to point B. So Car2Go is very proud to have many awards winning. We win the EPA Clean Air Excellence Award from the US Environmental Protection Agency in 2010. And we have several studies, for example, from the University of Ulm, saying that Car2Go helps to reduce CO2 emissions. So that comes to the conclusion of my part of the presentation, and then I hand over the microphone to Peter to continue.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I think first I have to upload my presentation. Somehow, okay. The presentation is just uploading, so I already can start without the presentation. First of all, my presentation is a lot on our last research project. Oh, okay, just see that it failed to load the presentation, so try it again.
Okay, back again.
So, back again. Yeah, how I said it.
Okay, back again.
So, back again. Yeah, how I said it. This presentation is a little bit focused on electromobility, and this is due to our last research project we did on electric vehicles. But first, a short introduction to who you're talking to. I'm working at the Öko-Institute, which was founded in 1977 as a non-profit association. It's still a non-profit association, and we have offices in Freiburg, Darmstadt, and Berlin, and I'm working as a consultancy and a research institute for quite many topics, quite many sustainable topics like nuclear safety, mobility sector, but also generally in the energy sector. How you can see, it's more than 85 researchers are working at the Öko-Institute, and we have projects with the European Union, several ministries in Germany, but also with industrial companies and NGOs around the world. The past research projects of my group were, how is that, quite focused on electromobility, There were 3 projects, Optum, Future Fleet, and e-mobility on the market potential and the environmental effects of electromobility. They were all focused on Germany only, and we also had projects on the resource side of electromobility with projects Optum Resources and V3. And finally, we're working on a new project on scenarios until 2050, which is going to be finished in the end of 2013, and the main goals are the market potential of electric and fuel cell vehicles in Germany until 2050, and which is important now also for the car sharing topic as the changes in mobility behavior and new mobility services and their market potential. Okay. But the first reason, or first question is, why are we actually talking about sustainable mobility? And there's a European Union emission target in 2050, and the emissions are supposed to be reduced more than 80% compared to the 1990 emissions. And there's a huge, the transport sector emissions is a huge part of the total emissions in the European Union. Right now, 25%, and the biggest part of these emissions come from the road traffic. So that's why we talk also about car sharing and how green is car sharing. And in the transport sector, there are no easy options. In the power sector, it's quite easy. We try to use as many renewable energies as possible and try to use the energy consumption. But in the transport sector, there's no clear path right now. There are quite many different measures possible. There's the technology development to making normal conventional vehicles more efficient and using alternative less intensive fuels. But a huge part of the emission reduction will be change in mobility behavior, and all studies being done on CO2 emission reduction scenarios always include all 3 parts of it. So technology development will not be the only solution, not the final solution. We need all 3 of these possibilities. That's just a short slide how cars are used today in Germany at least. And 50% of the car owners use the car only 3 times a week or less. And if you look on the days, on these days only 2/3 of the car are actually used, and 1/3 of the cars are not used on weekdays. And on weekends, this ratio is still, let's say, worse for cars. And what we also can see from data is that the average trip distance is quite small, and the cars only used a short time each day. So this all speaks that there's a possibility to use car sharing, because you use your own car only quite seldom, quite a short time a day. So now this is a slide on our, let's say, biggest study, the Optum study, where the Institute had the lead and the Institute of Social Ecological Research did the user acceptance analysis, and stakeholders from different we had a stakeholder process and stakeholders from the industry, but also from consumer groups and NGOs participating in the process of the study. And one goal of the study was to develop market scenarios of electromobility until 2030, and how I said, we did an user acceptance survey and used a conjoint analysis, and we analyzed today's car usage patterns to combine them in the end to create electric vehicle market scenario. So that's a slide, that's the conjoint analysis. And how I said, the ISO, the Institute for Social Ecological Research, did this conjoint analysis, and this screen was shown to the participants 18 times. They had to choose in between car with ICE or plug-in hybrid vehicle or fully electric vehicle. And there were different categories like the power of the car, the CO2 emissions, the retail price, the operating costs of a car, and some more for electric vehicles. And in this way we could figure out actually which categories are important for the users, and we could also do a market simulation. And finally, this was the result of the market simulation, and you can see that 60% of the users always want the electric vehicle, but actually only a small number of the people just wanted a fully electric vehicle. But it was quite surprising that 60% of the participants in the study wanted to have a plug-in hybrid vehicle. And in the end, we created this electric vehicle market scenario, and as you can see, a large share of the electric vehicles are plug-in hybrid vehicles. So only around 800,000 fully battery electric vehicles will be sold in this market scenario. And let's say using intermodal mobility concepts, when you combine public transport and car sharing and let's say bike sharing systems, the number of battery electric vehicles can probably be increased, and taking away the high number of plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. And next to besides the conjoint analysis, we also had a questionnaire, and we could figure out the opinion of some of the people doing the study or participating in the study. And what you can see is that the people who wanted a fully electric vehicle are the people who have a higher environmental awareness. And that's kind of a and the second slide in this we also asked them the questionnaire about their access to the public transport, and there's the same. You can see the same thing. People who have or think they have an easy access to public transport show a higher acceptance to electric vehicles, and this is probably to the problem of fully electric vehicles, that they have a lower electric range, or lower range between recharging the battery. And you can clearly see that if you have a good access to public transport, you rather want to have an electric vehicle. We also asked them about intermodal mobility concept in this questionnaire, and the question was if the people would accept to use an intermodal mobility concept. This means using public transport, including car sharing, and being able to rent a car spontaneously and not buying a new car. And we were quite surprised to see that at least 10% said yes. I would do this immediately, and another 20% said, oh, maybe I would do this. It was quite surprising for us, because the people we asked were actually people who were saying before taking part in the study that they want to buy a new car in the next 2 years. So that was a quite surprising number. And what you also could see is that there's kind of a U-shape in the acceptance due to the age. So the colors are categories for the age of the participants, and you can see that rather young people or rather old people agreed to the use of intermodal mobility concepts, and the people probably with children, and they were kind of they were not accepting intermodal mobility concept that as much as young and old people. And in the end, we combined the user acceptance of or for fully battery electric vehicles and the intermodal mobility concept. And what we can see is that if the people accept or are prone to intermodal mobility concept, they also rather want to buy a fully electric vehicle. And that's my last slide. Just a short summary of the results. In the market scenario, there's a clear domination of plug-in vehicles due to the range restrictions of the fully battery electric vehicles. And perhaps this is kind of there's a better or wider development of the battery electric vehicle market if there's a good offer for intermodal mobility concept to overcome the restriction of the electric vehicle. And what you else could see is that the acceptance for battery electric vehicles increases if someone is showing a high environmental awareness, if they have an easy access to public transport, and if there is a positive attitude to this intermodal mobility concept. And for last, the combination of electromobility and car sharing has the positive effect that the low operating cost of electric cars is intensified if it's used in car sharing because of the high mileage of cars in car sharing. So, yeah, our thesis is that the future market success of EVs requires a strong link to other mobility options, and at the same time it can be a trigger for a stronger acceptance of intermodal mobility concepts, including car sharing.
So now we are ready for your questions, and taking it from the top here on our list. So first question, is car sharing cheaper than having your own car? I've heard it can be expensive in certain circumstances. Yes, that's typical. It depends on. So in many cases, car sharing is cheaper than having your own car, and others it doesn't. So it depends on how much usage you have for a car. So if you are a commuter, if you commute daily, if you have more than maybe 6, 7, 8,000 kilometers per year you drive, then it could be that your own car is definitely cheaper than car sharing. But in cases you use your car, like Peter is showing in his presentation, if your car usage is 3 times a week or less, and you don't have lots of kilometers you drive, you're not a commuter, you're living in a large city, you have very good public transport, using your bike if the weather is fine or whatever, then of course car sharing could be much cheaper than having your own car. So it depends on your personal behavior, on your personal transportation needs, from your family situation and so on. And so you have to look, of course, for yourself if car sharing is a cheap alternative for you, or if it's still cheaper to have your own car. Do you want to add something?
I think you said everything about it. It really depends on how you use the car and how you want to use the car. If you use it every day, then probably car sharing is more expensive than owning a car. But if you use it just sometimes, car sharing will be the cheaper option.
Okay. So Richard is asking, does Car2Go also come to the university campus of Stuttgart? So as I know, university is inside city area and or near the city area, so we not defined the final business area so far, but in a first phase we will bring Car2Go in the city area of Stuttgart, and in the second phase we bring it throughout the region and connect other cities and other villages around about. But so I can answer your question with yes, it will be available at the university campus of Stuttgart as well. So next question is to Car2Go also, will there be charging stations in cities which also can be used by other electric vehicle users, not only Car2Go users? Definitely yes. We are in 3 cities so far. In Ulm, there's a smaller fleet of about 5 electric vehicles just for testing as a large-scale rollout. In Amsterdam and in San Diego, and in every city, and in Stuttgart it will be the same. Normal and private electric vehicle users can use the recharging stations as well, of course. So there are no special car-to-go recharging stations reserved especially for car-to-go vehicles. The charging stations are open for every electric vehicle. Okay, Eduardo wants to know, can you elaborate more on the difference between car sharing versus mobility on demand? So I pointed out some differences. First of all, mobility on demand, you have no fixed rental stations. You must not go to rental stations. You must not book a vehicle in advance. You just register one time, and then you get a membership card, and then you have the access to all free cars throughout the business area. So that means that every time you need a car, you must not book in advance. You can go to a car spontaneously at the spur of the moment. You can enter the car, drive as long as you want. You must not say in advance how long you will use the car, and then of course you must not return to a rental station. You can let the car throughout the business area, making A to B rides, A to B trips, and so these are the main difference. Another difference, of course, is the pricing scheme. The mobility on demand services are working with all-inclusive prices and not with a combination between time and kilometers. And so these are the main differences, of course. In Stuttgart, another question specific to Stuttgart, will the fleet consist of electric or normal smart? No, we are using, in Stuttgart we will use 100% smart for 2 electric drive vehicles. We announced that we will come with 500 of them to the region of Stuttgart. We were starting in the second part of this year.
Okay, the next question is more a question for me. Andreas wants to know if the 1 million electric vehicle goal in Germany until 2020 is possible or it's just such a high goal. And in our market scenario, we reached the 1 million, the number of 1 million electric vehicles in 2022, and the assumptions we made in the market scenario were quite advanced ones. So let's say if the technology is improving and in a really good way, it's possible to reach it around 2020. But how you say, 2020, 1 million electric vehicles in Germany is a quite impressive goal, and it will be difficult to reach it, but perhaps it's possible. But let's say around 2020 is possible, yeah.
I think the next question is for you again.
Mixed potential. The energy mixed potential because Uka Pascotta wants to know if the energy mix potential across vehicle segments refers to the Germany energy mix. I actually don't know exactly which slide you are talking about, but this study was done for Germany, so it's the German energy mix.
Okay, next question is one for my side. Those car sharing things and of yours as well, maybe we can answer both. And those car sharing things, are they a kind of latest models from the manufacturer? Is this the latest technology? Oops, now it disappeared. Question disappeared. Is this the latest technology? Is this why they are green? And yes, for car2go we're using the actual Smart for 2 vehicle. As I said, in our ICE cities with the combustion engines, we are using the Smart for 2 MHD, which means it has a start-stop automatic, which reduces the fuel consumption, and especially in inner city driving. And in the other two schemes in Amsterdam and San Diego, we're using the Smart for Two electric bikes, and these are the latest technologies so far. In Stuttgart, we were starting with the next generation of the electric bike, and of course it reduces fuel consumption because the Smart for Two has a CO2 emission of 97 CO2 per kilometer, and if you compare it to the average CO2 consumption or emission of 150 CO2 per kilometer, then using a Smart will definitely reduce CO2 emissions, and it helps to reduce carbon footprint. And car sharing, of course, is a green is green because many people are sharing a car, and not everyone is using his own car, and so if you share cars and you help to reduce the amount of cars in inner city areas by driving and by parking.
Yeah, from a researcher point of view, it's a really, really difficult question to answer if car sharing is green per se, because it really depends on which trips substituted when doing car sharing. But how Andreas Leo said, the smart small cars, they have a really good fuel economy, and that's why they just emitting low levels of CO2 emissions. So I actually don't know any study which looked in depth about how green is car sharing, but what you can say is that probably less cars are used, less cars are used, so this is definitely a sustainable part of car sharing, and less space is required in the inner city, so it's also a sustainable aspect of it. And on the greenhouse gas side, it's probably that it's quite positive, but still this is probably part of the research in the future, because I don't know any study about the substitution of trips due to car sharing.
So next question is in general too. What other new mobility services and changes would be required to make car sharing a viable and popular option? Well, of course, for many people car sharing is still a viable and popular option, and car sharing is a growing market, a large growing market. There are studies, for example, from Frost and Sullivan company, which are saying that the car sharing market will have a high potential. It's a high potential market in Europe, in North America, and will be 10 times higher than now in several years. And of course, Car2Go as a mobility on demand concept is not isolated. It's one part, one puzzle, one piece of a puzzle, which is called urban mobility. We are part of the urban mobility, and of course it will be a good idea to network with other mobility concepts. And so we have the Business Innovation Department, Daimler AG, which is working on several other mobility concepts as well. One of them maybe you heard about is Car2Gether, which is an enhanced ride-sharing concept, which is makes available in real time short distance and short-term ride-sharing in urban areas, and which was very successful piloted in the city of Ulm and in the city of Aachen in the western part of Germany. And so if you combine all those things in some kind of platform, in combined information platforms, then of course you can make it more easy and more convenient for customers to combine those different mobility services.
Yeah, I think Andreas Leo said quite more or less everything about it, but actually, yeah, what makes it more attractive is probably how Andreas Leo said, the connection or the possibility to combine it with other means of transport. Just to make it easy to switch between public transport and car sharing, and also to use car sharing in a spontaneous way. I think this is also one of the reasons why the car sharing market is rising or is increasing at the moment. So next question is probably one for me. Bethel or Boethel wants to know, is car sharing in cities more efficient in terms of CO2, etc. than bus rapid transit? I actually mentioned it a few questions before that it really depends. It depends a little bit on which trips are substituted by using car sharing. It's a good complement to public transport. It's definitely on the CO2 emission side, it's a really good thing. But if you take away, let's say, trips from public transport, introducing car sharing, then you have to make the CO2 balance more in depth. But what we see right now, it seems to be a really good complement to public transport.
So next question from Tevodros. Any plans to work on developing countries in introducing the system? It looks quite attractive and affordable for the economic situation there. Yes, of course, Car2Go is a very good question. Car2Go is a very new concept. We started our market entrance in April last year, and so we focused in the first step to the European and the North American markets, because car sharing there is still developed, and but it could be interesting to start later in other countries and other parts of the world as well, maybe in the Asian market or in the Southern American market, but this is not defined yet. So next question, can you drive your Car2Go smart from Stuttgart to Ulm and leave your car smart there? Yes, of course. Yes, this is quite a nice question too, and like the different, like the euro coins in your pocket from different countries. I don't think this will be possible in the near future, because driving between cities is not a typical market for Car2Go. Car2Go is an inner city concept for inner city travels, and of course you can go with the Car2Go smart outside your city, but then you have to return it, because we are not able to transport the empty cars then back to a location, and we still need the cars, of course, for daily usage in the city. So this is quite a funny idea and very interesting, but I don't think that you are able to make this in future, like in a classic car rental company. You can put a car maybe in Munich, drive to Hamburg and leave it there. I don't think that this is the market focus for Car2Go. So next question from Gabriele. For car sharing, have you already thought about addressing tourism and students as special customer groups for car sharing? So for Car2Go, to answer this for Car2Go, we have had a nice little pilot with the tourist board of Ulm last summer in the 125th anniversary of the car in Baden-Württemberg. We made special offers from the touristic aspect. For tourists in Ulm, they could rent a Car2Go for a whole day and make trips in Ulm and around Ulm, in the area, in the beautiful area around Ulm. And this could be developed in the future as well, but there are no specific plans so far, but it's a very interesting thought, and I will take this with me. And for students, we have some special offers, for example in Ulm as well. And students which have an annual ticket, a so-called semester ticket for the public transport in Ulm, will get some minutes free driving for Car2Go every week as well, so they can combine those two mobility services.
Yeah, addressing the tourism, last year there were some, or last several years there were some projects on electromobility, and yeah, there were some projects combining tourism and car sharing, and combining the trip to the vacation with Deutsche Bahn, and then just renting electric vehicles. So yeah, the idea is about addressing tourism and students. You already said it, in Ulm there's it's included, or 3 minutes are included in the semester ticket, and I think also in some other cities the abo, or the entry entry fee for car sharing is included in some of the semester tickets in Germany. So yeah, I think some companies thought about it and addressed it already.
So next question is, can we have an idea of the fares? Do people need to subscribe to the service? So for Car2Go, there is a one-time registration, and then there is no subscription. You don't have monthly codes. You only pay by the minute, with especially hourly and daily rates. To give you an example, in Ulm it's 24 euro cents per minute. In Düsseldorf it's 26. In Hamburg it's 29. So it differs slightly between the locations. So it's between 24 and 29 cents per minute, all inclusive. And you have especially hourly rates which are 12.90 euro, and the daily rate for 24 hours which is 39 euros and includes the first 20 kilometers. For any additional kilometer there's an additional cost of between 24 and 29 euro cents per kilometer. And you have a one-time registration fee, which is different between location. It's mostly, in most cases, it's 9.90 euro up to 19 euros. But this is a one-time fee just for registration. So next question, you think car sharing companies will ever cooperate? No. Sorry? Now it disappeared. You think car sharing companies will ever cooperate, meaning that I just have to register with one company like Car2Go, and they can use the cars of the other companies like right now as well. So I think this is a very good idea, which makes it more easy and convenient for the customers, and it's not possible so far because there are different companies, different models, pricing models, but it's a good suggestion, and maybe it's available in the future. I can't tell so far about that.
I don't really know it exactly, but I think with the classical car sharing, there it's possible to be member of one company and use a different company in a different city. So with classical car sharing, I think it's possible right now. But I think it's also thinkable, at least, for this mobility on demand services like Car2Go and Right Now in the future. The next question: is it still necessarily cleaner to car share rather than to have your own car? Surely, if you use a car sharing, car as much as your own, it makes no difference. Yeah, if you use your car sharing car as often as your own car, it makes not a huge difference. I think if you use the small cars, then it makes a difference because they probably having smaller emissions than most other cars. But then you probably also don't use car sharing if you use it as often as your own car. And if you use it quite often, it's also more expensive doing car sharing than having your own car. So, but how I said in the beginning, it really depends on how you were using the car, or how you were how you were doing or how you were going from A to B before using car sharing, and then you have to compare to how you use it when you be a member of car sharing.
So Benjamin wants to know, are there plans to combine, integrate Car2Go and Car2Gather? What about combining Car2Go with other means of transport? Well, I think I slightly answered this question, a couple of questions before. Of course, Car2Go and Car2Gather both are part of urban mobility, and with many other means of transport, like public transport, like biking, like taxi driving, and of course would be very good and a very good idea to combine those means of transport to make it more easy and convenient for the customer, for the daily usage of the customer. And when we piloted Car2Gather in Ulm, there was the possibility to combine it with Car2Gather. So of course, when you share a Car2Gather with another customer of when you share a Car2Go with another customer of Car2Gather, then you can decrease your rate of Car2Go when you divide it with another participant. And of course, it's absolutely good for combining Car2Go with other means of transport. We are doing it in Düsseldorf. We have a cooperation with the public transport of Düsseldorf, the Rheinbahn AG. We will introduce next month. We will introduce a combination ticket where customers who are customers of the Rheinbahn can buy a combination ticket, and they will have 90 minutes free Car2Go driving each month, and they will have up to 4 hours usage of bike sharing concept, which is called Next Bike, per day included as well. So this makes a combination ticket very interesting. So you can combine public transport and mobility on demand with Car2Go and bike sharing with Next Bike on one combination card and one combination ticket. And maybe you heard about our investment in the intelligent app company which developed the My Taxi app, which is very popular in the smartphone. And this is one point to combine Car2Go with the taxi services on one platform. And so we are working just on these combination questions actually. Next question, are there plans for an API that smartphone app developers can integrate Car2Go in their project? Yes, it's still available. We have no own Car2Go app for smartphones so far. All the apps you can find in the iPhone or the Android application stores are developed by app developers using our API. So you can find the data of our cars in an open API so far, and you can use it for your own development. So next question from Stefan, what about car sharing service with fuel cell cars? Well, not so far as I know on the market, but of course it's very interesting. So to speak personally, I'm a great fan of fuel cell, and we have from Mercedes-Benz the B-Class fuel cell car, which is excellent and for mid and longer distances. And why not integrate fuel cell cars in a car sharing service? We're not planning this for Car2Go right now because we think that the Smart for 2 car is the ideal vehicle for an urban mobility concept like Car2Go, and it's like Peter called it a BEV, a battery electric vehicle, but why not? Still interesting idea.
Yeah, but how Andreas said, there's nothing is speaking against fuel cell cars and using them in car sharing. But I think it's really a question in the future, because right now there's no infrastructure for it, and yeah, so it can be a solution or a service in the future, but probably not in the next 5 years or so. Yeah.
So next question from Andreas. Do you have information about the occupancy rate of car sharing vehicles? E.g. at least 90% of all cars in the city are parked vehicles. Do you know the share from car sharing vehicles or the peak hours?
To be honest, no, I don't know them. Numbers of occupancy rate of car sharing vehicles, and I also don't know if they are peaks. No.
So car-to-go vehicles, of course, are rented several times a day for short time rentals, and to answer the peak hours, we have traffic all over the day, 24 hours. There are still traffic in the late night hours or the early morning hours. But of course, car-to-go has some peaks, the usual peaks of car usage in the city. So the afternoon hours, the early evening hours. But we have 24-hour services, and car-to-go vehicles are used 24 hours, definitely. Is it more expensive in peak hours? No, it isn't. Car-to-go is always the same price. It's between 24 and 29 euro cents per minute. In the US and in Canada it's 35 cents, and so it's the same price in every hour of the day. So it makes more sense from our perspective to have one price, so you must not look in tables to combine different pricing schemes and different hours and so on. Next question from Bitan. When customers use car-to-go cars, is there a possibility of providing subsidy of free parking facilities in public? So here from outer space back again. We were in the shadow of the moon. Can you hear me? So, okay. So now we're back. So to pull up the lost tail, when customers use car-to-go cars, yes, the public as a parking space, the parking possibility. So you can use every public parking space, whether it is for free or whether you have to feed the meter. But as a car-to-go customer, you can ignore the meter because parking is included in the price, but you can use the parking possibilities. And in addition, we rented especially parking possibilities in private car parks and parking garages, marked them as car-to-go reserved parking spots, so which made it easier for the customers to find a free available parking spot, and you can use this special marked parking spots as well. You can find them in so-called hotspots in inner city areas, in shopping malls, near the central station, and so on.
Yeah. So Gretel asked, could we imagine isolated cities in Germany where only a limited number of cars like Shanghai, or even no car can enter but only car sharing cars are available in the core of the city? Could that be the future? Let's say from an environmental point of view, it could be a possibility, but let's say I cannot really imagine this scenario, just because not anyone wants to use a car sharing car. So I want to see the politician who just makes this ruling. So I cannot really imagine a regulation like this, that only car sharing cars can enter the core of the city.
Oh. Are there any questions left? So our note list is still empty, so maybe we answered all of your questions. That would be great. Speaking very fast. And so if there are still no questions left, then quite like in television, when you have shortly before end of the movie, you have the
screen.
Yeah, you have the advertorial.
Yeah.
Okay, so when there are no questions left, then thanks for your audience, thanks for your patience with our technical problems.
Yeah, also thanks from my side, and thanks to APH inviting me for this webinar, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Okay, thank you very much.